Songbirds, it's Kerry Ho from the songbird.com, and I'm super excited today. Welcome to episode 29, Launch Your Singing Career with Music and Talent Manager Kate Westwood. Now, even if you don't want to necessarily do this as a full-time thing, as in becoming a singer as your full-time career, you're still going to really benefit from today's live stream because Kate has just got the most amazing golden nuggets to share just in regards to how do we even get our music out there. You know, whether you want to do it full-time, part-time, or just on the side while you've got another day job, you know, this is going to be a very exciting session for you and you're going to really find it very, very helpful. So before I welcome Kate onto the show, I just want to make sure you all know that I have a free mini course. Did I mention it's free? It's how to sing and mix voice and stop cracking, flipping, and straining. And you can actually sign up to get it completely for free. The link's in the description box and it's also coming up on the bottom of your screen. Hello, everyone. Hey, Mohammed. Good to see you. We'll talk about mixed voice and stuff potentially towards the end if there is time for live Q&A. Hey, Kathleen. Good to see you. Hello, Cheryl. It's so good to see you all. All right. I think it's actually time for us to get right into today's content, launching your singing career. So guys, I want you to put your hands together, give us some emojis and whatever it is, right? But let's give Kate Westwood a warm welcome. Here we go. Kate! Yay! It is so good to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Such a pleasure. I'm so stoked to just keep connecting with you, Kerry. You're such a powerhouse and you're so generous and encouraging, and I love what you're doing to serve your community, like giving up. I think someone said, Kathleen, free is my favorite word. I can see that in the comments. I'm amazed how much you just continue to give out to your audience, and I know are going to be absolutely blessed by your continual support. So I mean, I'm blessed to be here today. So
Okay, you're so sweet, seriously. But I honestly know that we are going to be so blessed by what you have to share and just your presence, your smiley face, you know, the joy that you bring, and the knowledge. I mean, I just know, you know, because you've been doing this for a while, so you kind of know what you're talking about. This is going to be really, really cool. All right, I'm just going to see where who else is here. Izzy was giving you big claps. So was Cheryl. Hey, Sue, good to see you. Kathleen is saying, welcome, Kate. Sue is also really excited to have you. Everyone is just stoked. All right, here we go. I think it's time for us to get into it, hey? Now, Kate, I would love to know, before we even get into, I guess, the ins and outs of how to launch a singing career, I would really love to know, how did you end up doing this job? Like, you know, can you give us a little bit of background as to how you ended up a music and talent manager?
Sure. I mean, look, I am 38, so I've had many years in the workforce and I've done many different things. I worked in missions. I did a lot of youth work, leadership development. I've traveled the world. I think I've been to 28 countries. So I have a broad life experience, but I've always been a singer. I've always been in bands, and I sung a lot in church. I've been a closeted songwriter for many years, meaning I just kind of wrote by myself. I didn't really share much, and if I did share, it wasn't really with the goal of getting feedback. It was just, this is what I have, and you like it or don't, I don't care, kind of thing. But I've had a dream on my dreams list, on my to-do list for, I would say, 8 or 9 years to record an album. And sadly, every year it was still on my list, and I was no closer to that. And there was a lot of fear and a lot of insecurity around, but what if these songs aren't good enough? And what if I'm not good enough? Heaps of comparison with other artists that were similar to me. Oh man. And sillily, that's not a really word, but like I would compare my voice recording of me on the piano with a fully produced song and go, oh, it's not good enough. It's not the same. Of course it's not. Their song place that mine did. But, I just didn't know much about the industry. I just knew that I loved to sing and wanted to release these songs and have an opportunity to share. And so I happened to get myself in a really amazing creative community. And then probably the pivot point for me was a songwriting course that I did, just a couple of weeks songwriting course. And we had to bring one of those days, we had to bring a bit of a song, and the instructor gave me some feedback. And straight away in my heart, I felt like there's heaps of pride rise up and go, who are you to tell me that my song isn't good? Like that was like, I didn't say that out loud. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But inside I was like, and that for me was a bit ugly. I was like, whoa, what is that? And I realized that I had just never really flexed that muscle of opening myself up to people. And so I wasn't used to getting feedback. And I really I realized that day that I had this mindset that for me to be a good songwriter and write good songs, I had to be able to do it all myself. And that if I needed to ask for help or the song needed development, it meant that I wasn't a good writer and it wasn't a good song. Totally a lie, totally not true. Yeah. In fact, I believe the absolute opposite, that songs have and songwriters benefit and grow so much more by that feedback. But it was because of the hardcore DIY attitude that I had. Anyway, all of that to say, it's from that songwriting course, I then started to develop my songs. I approached a producer. I did an album.
Yes, you did it.
9-year goal off my list. And, you know, a whole lot of things in that space. And at the same time as I was doing my album, I also was studying entertainment management at university. And in that time realized that, I am studying this, learning how to be a manager, but me as an artist is not ready for a manager at all. But where is the help for people who are just getting started, who need to figure out who's the distributor and how do you even do that? And so I realized that there was so much confusion around being an indie artist and just getting started. And I wanted to be the change that I wanted to see. So I started and I focused my management business and my management career on working with truly independent, early stage emerging artists to help them figure out what was hundreds of hours for me to researching and reading and learning and packaging it together in a way that is really simple to access and understand, and also comes with some great coaching. So long story, but I'm an artist and I'm working on my second album at the moment, and I'm still doing that.
How exciting.
I know.
So good.
Back as COVID does, but it's a joy every day to get out of bed and go, okay, great, I get to talk with this artist, I get to connect with them, I get to give them empower them, champion them, be on their team, and figure stuff out together. And so it's a huge privilege to get to do that every day. And I mean, I choose what time I start, so most days I get up at 9 o'clock. I don't have kids, so
good.
That is really definitely a perk.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. You know, and I just love, Kate, that as a music and talent manager, you've actually gone through the hard yards of, you know, being an artist yourself and trying to figure it all out, how to get your music out there, and even how to improve in your songwriting, how to actually establish community around what you do creatively as well. And so when you help someone, you're coming from the perspective of, I totally get you. You know, like I've been there, I've done that. I know how challenging it is. I know how it can hurt your pride to get feedback, whatever, you know? So I just feel like that's just, it just feels like it's such an organic kind of natural progression. And I love that you've, I guess in that position to do that. Because, you know, more than ever before, I just feel like artists really need this kind of encouragement and also coaching, you know, in the practical things. Yeah. So what I, would love to know now is, I guess, when it comes to, being a music and talent manager, I mean, what I actually, before I get into the question, another thing I really love about what you do is that you, like, it's not about we need to be like the household name, you know, like we don't have to be Beyonce or Michael Jackson or whatever in order to make a career in music. Is that right? And I love that you help people do that you help people make a good, honest living with music so that they can do what they love, but still live and eat. I just think that's amazing. So tell us, Kate, what does that actually look like on a day-to-day basis? What does being a music and talent manager helping independent artists look like?
Sure. Well, quickly on what you were saying about being Beyonce, it used to be starving artist or superstar. They were the only two options. Yes. But there are so many things in between that.
Yes.
Regardless to
What does that look like? Tell us. What are the in between?
thousands and thousands and thousands of people across the world who work in the music industry full time. Maybe they are sound engineers, maybe they are songwriters behind the scenes, session musicians, or people who do a bit of all of those things. They have multiple revenue streams that's getting income from a bunch of different places, but they do music full time. And you'll never hear their name in lights. They'll never win big awards, but they earn a really livable, sustainable income. Many of them struggling in COVID because of the industry stressing out in that space, but it's totally doable to have a livable, sustainable income from your music. But it does take time, just like running any small business. It takes time to develop that. But just wanted to comment that you don't have to be starving artist or superstar. There's heaps of options in between.
Yes, that's right.
In terms of being a music manager and a talent manager, what I want to say first of all is that every manager is different, and what that manager does and is capable of is different. So I work exclusively with emerging artists. So I don't work with anyone who is really, super established and making a lot of money. That sounds really strange. But because I recognize that I didn't feel like there was anyone working with independent artists at this really beginning level. So I work, instead of on a percentage, which usually managers work on, I work on a flat fee every month. So it means that I can tier that to what the artist needs, but then they still get and support and coaching, but they don't have to try and find that on their own, because most managers would not, even me as an artist, like on an album out, I'm still not making enough money to facilitate them doing all this work for 15% of zero. So you need to know that every manager is different, and also their skills are different. Some managers are more businessy, so they're all about the finances and the contracts, but they have no real interest or experience in the creative stuff. Whereas for me, I want to hear the songs before my artists record them, because the songwriting matters to me, because I'm a songwriter. So they don't want to do that, but I say I'd love to have input on the songs, and I'd love to have input. I'd like to listen to the mixes. But so there's a negotiation between what the artist needs and what the manager personally is skilled in and capable of doing. So you have to recognize it's not a one size fits all, and every manager is different. What they do is different. Their contacts and their skills and experience are really different. So if you're looking for a manager, you've got to ask a lot of those questions and engage in the relationship, because you have some artists who have, he's been our manager for 30 years, because it's about, they're essentially a member of the band, a member of the team in that space. So,
Right. So it sounds like if somebody came to you for help in this area, that they would get, quite a holistic package of input in terms of the business side of things. Obviously, how do you get your music out there? How do you actually, just basically make this work, but also the creative side as well, like, the songwriting aspect and the creative aspect, which I think is really cool. I love that package, Kate. That's awesome. So, Kate, tell us, do you have any tips for, I guess, the artist who may not necessarily be wanting to do this, full time? I mean, you did say that there's a spectrum, and there's so much in between. It's between like the person who's just singing for themselves at home and then the person who's a superstar. There's so much in between there. So what about for the person who they may be sort of in the back of their mind thinking, I'd love to be able to, make a living from my music one day, but right now I've got a day job and then I'm comfortable there. I want to keep supporting myself financially with a day job, but I do want to get my music out there. Like I somehow want to share. Yeah. So any tips for that kind of singer?
Sure. So I would assume from that question that this person maybe has a song that they're going to record. Maybe it's a cover that they've got permission to record. Maybe it's a song they've written or a song that they've grabbed from another writer. So I'm assuming you have a song that maybe you've recorded at home or with a producer and you're wanting to get that out, but you're not doing it full time. You're just kind of dabbling. Probably my biggest tip that I would say is you need to know what your goals are. And this may seem strange. Not everyone's a goals person. I'm a huge goals person. It really has been helpful for me. But if you don't know what you want to achieve from the release or what you're hoping to see as a result of it, then you won't know how to judge whether you got there, whether you reached your goal, and you'll be making a whole bunch of different decisions that will conflict. So let's just use a really simple, it's either, for example, I've got a song I've recorded, I want to release it. Is my goal streams and reach, or is my goal income? So this is going to be releasing a single, especially, you know, everyone's thinking about Spotify. I've got to get lots of plays on Spotify. And that's awesome. Maybe my goal is to get 100,000 streams on Spotify, but that's going to get me something around $150.
Sure.
Maybe you get some more, hopefully you get a couple more fans, but releasing singles on Spotify is not an income building.
Sure. So did you just say 100,000 streams gives you about $150? Is that what you said? Something like that? Yeah, that's not much at all, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not much at all. So
yep.
Don't quote me on that. It changes all the time.
Sure.
But if your goal is to make an income, then you want to be thinking about, I need to have customers who want to buy my product. And people don't buy singles anymore. So you need to be thinking about merch, about doing shows, about maybe like having that single as a part of an EP that then you release and you actually print 150 copies and sell them with a t-shirt together. So you really have to think really clearly about what your goal is. And if you're personal, I don't think it's a bad idea just to put it out digitally. But the other most important thing is, no matter what your goal is, you need to be thinking about building an audience. Because if you are just dabbling in music as a hobby, or if you're thinking maybe I'd like this to be something that later on it becomes as a full-time thing, it means that you're starting a business. So businesses don't exist and don't work unless they have customers. And this true. People like, oh, I just want to do the creative stuff. Great, you can, but then you should have very low or no expectations about what happens. Because if like, even you and I would have our own businesses, and if you never told anyone about what you did, you would never get to do what you do. If you didn't promote it on socials, if you didn't to create a new product, if you didn't monetize that to some extent, you would never have a business. You would be a starving artist living on welfare checks or whatever, or you'd be, you know, spending your whole life doing your day job that you hate, wishing it. So all that to say is you need to know what your goal is, and then you need to make decisions that empower and pursue that goal. And then you need to be always building your audience. No matter whether you have music out or not, you need to be building your audience. And the three things about building your audience, it's quite well known in marketing circles, are these. You want your audience not just to know what you're doing and just go, oh, look, she's got music out or she's selling a product. No, it's not a sales page. It's not a like a Costco or an Aldi catalog that you just flip through and throw out. No. Or an email that you delete without reading. You don't want that to be it. You want to help them to get to know you. And then when they know you, they will like you. And as they like you more and more, they will trust you. So know you, like you, trust you. Where is it on there? And to do that, then when you ask them to do something, they will do it. So I use the example of like I work from home, so often I'll get people coming to the door trying to sell me electricity or give to this charity, that kind of thing. Yes. I don't know those people, and generally I don't care about them. And usually the thing is like, no, I'm fine. I don't need that. Shut the door.
That's right. I'm the same.
If you came over to my house and you said, oh, Carrie, come in. And you came in, we had a cup of tea. And then you said, Pete, by the way, I'd love to talk to you about this whole thing of changing your electricity over. Right. You know, same conversation, but because I know you, I like you, and I trust you, I'm going to listen. And it's likely that I will consider it, even if I don't say yes. And so your goal is to move people from being a stranger at the door who might just listen to a song to being a friend at the table. Yeah, so that's great. When you offer something, hey, buy my album or stream this or come to my show, people are like, yeah, I care about her. She's awesome. Yes, I would love to do that if I can. So that would be my second thing. First one is know your goals. What do you want to achieve? Second is you have to audience build your ass off, really. Amen. And that never stops. And that's not sales primarily. That is relationship building. And this
can you give us a practical, what does that look like? Like, how do I build my audience?
Sure.
When I don't have any?
Great. Well, the great thing is you don't have to release on Spotify to, to have music out there. You can just do a live recording of you with your guitar or, singing the song and upload it to a Facebook page or an Instagram account.
Sure. So social media is a huge part of this, obviously.
Not everything, and we don't have time to go into all of that. It's not everything.
Sure.
And then you invite your friends and family. First of all, it's just going to be people who already know you and love you, who want to support you what you're doing. So that's fine. Start there. And then what you want to be doing is, my encouragement is, out of every 3 posts that you do, only one of them should be about your music. If they're all about your music, then it's like a sales catalog that people scroll through. No. We want there to be something interesting in there. That we want there to be stories, and we want people to connect and find something in common with you. So my encouragement is always looking at 2 or 3 other points of things that you're interested in and you feel comfortable to share. And someone said I did a beep word. I did say that. It's not in Australia. It's not in Australia.
It's all good. Don't worry about it.
That you want to talk about other things than just your music. And so this could be, maybe you're passionate about coffee, or like I talk about how I love Starbucks. So I always have my Starbucks cup. So maybe it's like the things that you love about Starbucks. It could be, maybe you're passionate about travel or photography, or there could be a particular political cause or a social justice cause. Maybe it's fighting against human trafficking or climate change awareness. And, you know, it's easy for you to share about those things, because the way that we build a relationship is through things that we have in common, not just
I love that
sale. So
so it's really an opportunity for you to really just connect with other people by being yourself, and, you know, being human, really, not a marketing machine. So yes, you want to share your music, but you also want to be real, and share about things that you're interested in that will then be a bridge towards, you know, I mean, connecting yourself and your potential audience. Yeah. Does that sound about right in terms of?
It's all about building that trust, and you don't build trust with a sale. You build trust with sharing a little bit about yourself so people get to know. So today I talked a little bit about myself. I talked about a bit of my journey, some things that I struggled with fear and insecurity and comparison. And, you know, it was authentic. It wasn't, you know, manipulative, but you now know something about me. And so you probably go, oh, she's cool. Because I know, say, sale, buy this. Here's my music, listen to it. Where I actually talked a little bit about myself, and that invites you into an opportunity to connect with me deeper than the product. Because actually, I will say that you are the product. You are what you're selling to some extent, not your songs.
Yes.
If you do that, then people will stick around way longer than the 3.5 minutes that your song goes for. And I could talk about this, so let's move on to the next.
No, but it's really, really interesting, insightful stuff, Kate. So don't worry about it. I mean, I'm learning so much for myself, and also just how to continue building an audience myself for what I do as a vocal coach. So thank you. These are fantastic tips, and everybody is you know, really resonating, as we can see in the comments. So that's really, really cool. So I guess in terms of building an audience, that's super important, and I guess that's important whether or not you hope to make a living out of this. If you want to get your music out there, then that's what you should be doing. So let's talk about the artist now who is really dreaming about doing this full time, Kate. Like, they want to be singing, gigging, selling merchandise, whatever, you know, doing this full time and actually being able to have a good, honest living from it, not be like scared that, you know, next month, I don't know when my paycheck's going to come in. What are your top tips for that singer?
Sure. All right. Well, I've got good news and bad news, Kerry. Which one do you want?
Let's start with the good news.
Okay. The good news is that this world that we live in is absolutely amazing. If you want to be an artist, you can. Like never before, you now have the capacity from your home computer to record and release and engage with people all across the world. And without this digital platform, distributors, Spotify, you know, 10 years ago, this was not possible. So it's amazing. You can be an artist if you want to. You can do it. You couldn't do it 10 years before. And that is the good news. It's absolutely amazing. The technology.
There is hope. Yeah. There is hope. Yes.
But there is also bad news.
What's the bad news, Kate?
That now every man and his dog wants to be an artist. And now the market is flooded with people trying their hand at music. They may not actually be good. They may not have it as their calling. You know, they say that there's over 40,000 new songs uploaded to Spotify. How often do you think? Every month? Every week?
40,000 new songs, did you say? Let's say every day.
Every day. 40,000.
That's crazy.
which I can't add that up, but that's something like at least $1 million a year.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So how do you get seen and heard in the midst of 40,000 other songs and all these other artists? So it's actually much more crowded arena than it was before. So the good news was you can be an artist. Yes. You can get out there. The bad news is now you are in a very competitive market with everyone trying to figure it out, and most of them being independent artists.
Right.
So what I want to do...
But I know you've got some golden nuggets to help us overcome this bad news.
One thing that I talk a lot and I have to re-educate people around is the expectation of what being an artist or getting music out there will mean for them. Often it's like, well, I released an album, it's on iTunes. Doesn't that mean that people will know about it? It's out there now. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Well, that doesn't mean anything. Not with 40,000 other songs trying to be out there. So actually about changing our expectations about what's possible. And I did talk earlier about the whole thing. If your goal is streaming, you're, oh, great, I'm going to be great on streaming. But even 100,000 streams is once off like $150, maybe max $200. And so it's not actually a career just having thousands of streams. And so there's so much more work that goes into building a music business. So especially if you want to do this full time, you need to be probably engaging in this space of audience building, connecting with people for 6 to 12 months before you jump into it full time. And you probably need to be gigging because at the moment, well, I know with COVID things have shifted, but gigging is one way to get a lot of money. You need to have merch out. For full-time, you would probably think is $2,000, like in Australia. It's livable for a single person a month. What do you need? That needs at least 4 gigs. You need to have merch at those things. But it takes a lot of time to develop that. So if you're thinking on do this time, you can't do it tomorrow. You've got to prepare for that. But I want to give you a couple of tips. If this is something that you're planning on doing full-time, I want you to think about, who do you have around you? So do you have other artists who have released music? You've got to buy them dinner and ask every question you can think of and write it down. Ask for their recommendations. They work with, who was awesome, where did they regret spending money, what was a waste of time, what would they do differently, and you're engaging with them and learning from them. You want to ask for recommendations. Anybody know a producer or a photographer in this area, and learn that way. So you've got to think about who is around you and who can support you. And that also has to do with your super fans, your key supporters, because they're the ones that are going to help you when things are a bit tough. They're the ones that are going to help you share everything on socials. The other thing you need to do is you need to be a legit business, whether this is like a hobby business or something that you're hoping to do. In Australia, we call it an Australian business number, an ABN. You just apply for that, and that's your business number, and then you have a business bank account. I think there's an LLC or something over in the US. I'm not sure. But you need to apply for something that allows you to be a sole trader, a person running their own small business, whether it was an Etsy store or like a coffee cart on the side of the road, a one-man business. And you need to make sure you set those things up so that for tax you can do all the right things. And then you need to have a bank account, and you have to start putting money in that bank account. My recommendation is that you should put 10% of your normal income into that account. So a lot of people do that with church. They tithe their money. And so for me, on top of my normal income, I put 10% into my music bank account. Because at the moment, I'm not selling anything and I don't have any gigs. So how do I put that income in there? I can't. But if I want to do those things, I actually need to have capital. And so this will tell you whether you're serious about it, if you're willing to sacrifice that Netflix for the month or going out with a friend, because you've got to put that $150 or something into that account.
Love it.
That now you have money, even just a couple of $100 to, do a test demo with a producer or get your website started. So that's my other tip. And you need to think long term. If you are starting a business, you can't just be thinking about what I'm doing next week. You have to be thinking 6 to 18 months ahead. So I have a calendar back here where I plan out my next 12 months. And I always do this at the beginning of the year. I provide a 2021 goals calendar, which I'm doing for my community, where it's free to download. We'll do a dreaming challenge, and it will be about how do you plan out the next 12 months. Because
fantastic
is not just going, oh, yes, we need new products for next week. What should we do? Oh, let's try and get this. No, they're probably 2 years ahead in terms of their planning. You need to be as well.
Wow. Where can we get that calendar, Kate?
Well, actually, it's still the 2020 goals guide. I mean, I can send you the link to it, and if you want to.
Yeah. But if you can tell me now, I can put it up in the on the bottom of the screen.
I think it might be on my website, westwoodmg.com.
Okay, cool. All right. So everybody, make sure you do go to Kate's website to check that out.
I won't put it up there straight away afterwards.
Okay. Well, it's coming soon. So, guys, when you go and check out all of Kate's links, which is in the description box, you keep your eye out for that. Keep going, Kate. This is gold. This is amazing.
So think long term. And remember that they're in music. It's an industry that doesn't work on merit. So you could be working at, a company, and you do really well, and you get a raise, you get a promotion, you're next in line, you've worked here, you move forward. That happens a lot, but it does not happen in music. It's not the most talented or the person with the best voice or the best songs or who's been in it for the longest that gets, oh, Kerry, you're in line next. Oh, you've been here a long time. You get the magical music career of your dreams. There you go.
Yep.
It doesn't work like that, which is really sucky. But, we have an Australian artist here in Australia called Amy Shark, and she released a song that went really big a couple of years ago. And everyone's like, overnight success. And she was like, no, I've been gigging for 10 years. I've been playing songs. I've had no after no after no after no after no. And just one song happened to do something.
Yes.
That Sarah Bareilles was like that. I recently read her biography, and her story was very similar. Lots of writing and playing before she ever got to that goal, and many, many years. You need to recognize that you're in it for the long haul. And small businesses take time to develop. Kerry has a small business. I have a small business. I've been doing it for 2.5 years. I'm still growing and developing. I'm still just making enough to cover my bills, It takes time. So
it really does. Yes. This is very, very practical, Kate. Thank you so much. Now we've got a couple of questions from the audience. Is that okay if we get some questions happening? So Charlie wants to know, how would you recommend going about pursuing live gigs?
Sure. Well, Charlie, if you've never done it before, my recommendation is to first of all, make sure you know your songs back to front. So don't go in as, I played it wrong. You got to know you actually know what you're doing. And then start with things like an open mic, or playing at a friend's wedding, or performing at a friend's birthday party. So start with the people around you. An open mic night, like where you just go in and anyone can sign up to play their song. Start there, because the cost is low. There's no money in it usually, but you're going to develop your capacity to play live. And the other thing is, you're going to start to meet people and engage with people and start to build your audience. And then you can start to reach out. You're doing that gig. Have you got anyone opening for you? And here's a recording of me playing live. Maybe you want to check it out and let me know. And then you start by playing, opening for somebody else, that kind of thing. So really, Charlie, you just have to start playing live, even if it's not in the licensed venue or you're not getting paid $500 or $1,000 to do it. Do it friends, birthday parties, weddings, and open mics are the best place to start. And then you start to move up. Once you've built some experience, you're starting to get people coming up to want to watch you and listen to you. That would be my encouragement.
Love it. Fantastic. Now, Richard of Oz wants to know, have you ever worked with artists who have funding and crumble under the pressure of having to deliver on demand and almost walking out of their dream as opposed to dreaming the dream? What do you think, Kate?
I'm not sure exactly what you mean by funding. I'm thinking maybe you mean someone's invested in you, and so then there's maybe strings attached. I haven't worked with anyone like that. Most of the funding that people in Australia often get is like a grant that they apply for. So they get the money, but they can use it for the project that they want to do. There's no one saying, get this done.
Yeah.
That's one of the challenges often if there's strings attached, and often with labels, there will be a timeline and there will be that pressure. There'll also be a lot of help and a big team around you. So, that's really sad. It's really sad if that happens, and it happened to a lot of people. So he's just said, yeah, that's what I meant. So I think if you can get funding and you can get it without strings, that is the best thing to do, especially when you're starting, because just like any other creative career, you've got to build some resilience, and you need to know who you are, what type of artist you are, before you go and get signed and do those things. Otherwise, that way you get to be the CEO of your career and your business, and those people essentially work for you. So you don't want to go in as, I don't know anything about it, tell me everything. You want to go in, okay, guys, thank you so much for turning up today. This is what we want to achieve. How do we do that? And so I'm really sad if that happens, and no one wants to lose the dream. But I think you've got to come back to, what is my goal? What is my goal? What do I want to achieve? And maybe your goal is actually more about, I've got a story to tell and I just want that to be heard, whether it's 10 people or 1 million people.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kate. So there's some other really interesting questions as well. But I reckon some of these questions that are being asked are going to be answered in greater detail in this amazing event that you are hosting. Can you tell us about that, Kate?
I want to say that. So I'm a crazy person. I was like, what am I going to do for the end of the year? I didn't have anything planned in that time. I was like, I'm going to run a summit, a virtual event. We can't meet in person at the moment because of COVID. And of course, internet and digital, it means that people around the world can access and be a part of it. So it's called the Indie Musician Summit, as it says on there. It's November 27th to 29th, and we've made it free to register. So we've got over 25 speakers. We've got a bunch of featured artists, and Kerry is one of those amazing speakers. You're going to love her. And the goal of the summit is to say, indie musos, you are valuable, and we recognize it's so hard to figure out, what information do I need? Who can help me? What resources are there out there? So we've put it together in this wonderful package. And the great thing about it is it's on demand. So it's like going onto Netflix and go, I'm going to choose this one to watch for that day. So you don't have to turn up at 9 a.m. I know there's lots of people watching from different places in the world. So it's on demand. All the content for each day is available for that 24 hours. So we'd love you to come. It's absolutely free to register. For anyone who's interested in starting to move towards a music career or is early on in doing that, even if they're just dabbling, it's free. It's going to be amazing. And we would absolutely love you to join us. I get to host it. To chat with all these amazing people. And I'm super excited. So November 27th to 29th, free to register.
Yes, and the link is coming up on the bottom of the screen, but it's also in the description box. So make sure you click on that to register. Remember, it is completely free, and the content is just going to blow your mind. Kate, can you tell us a little bit more about the speakers that you've got? Are there any speakers that you're, really, really excited about?
Sure. Well, one of my favorite artists that here in Australia, she's actually American. Her name is China Taylor, and she was on Voice a couple of years ago here in Australia. And I love her Instagram. She has sold me on her artist tree. Her Instagram's amazing. And I just reached out to her and I said, China, you don't know me. Would you like to speak on the summit? And she said yes. Wow. And
amazing.
Such insight into singing competitions, into working with bigger artists, and also learning actually how to engage with her fans. She does that so well. I've got some amazing chats with another friend of mine, Anna, talking about co-writing and collaborating in songwriting retreats and how you can really develop songwriting connections to get some great tunes. That one I'm really pumped about. Which other one? And then there's some great chats around actually how to get radio play. And in Australia, we have a lot of community radio stations, which are smaller and have, different ways about going about it rather than the bigger stations. And so chatting with one of those music directors about actually how you approach a music director from a radio station to get radio play, which I know most artists want to do. So that's the story of many. So good. And it's been an absolute privilege for me to be a part of this too, Kate. So fun, and especially during COVID, to be able to have an event like this where, though we can't be together in the same room together, but there's the convenience of accessing it all
from the comfort of our lounge rooms, which is fantastic. And I get to speak about taking care of your voice and vocal technique, and just tips on, what do you do when you actually go into the recording studio as well. So guys, would love for you to register for this event, because there's just going to be a bucket load, truckload actually, trucks, like lots of truckloads of just amazing content that is going to encourage, inspire, and equip you to do your thing. So guys, make sure you check out that link in the description box. Click on it right now. Remember, it's free and you're going to love it, right? You don't want to miss out on this one. Also, make sure you check out Kate's links. So if you want to actually find out more about what she does, maybe even engage her yourself as a music and talent manager for your own career, and your own singing and songwriting and getting your music out there goals, or maybe even just getting some advice on how to market yourself and how to build an audience, make sure that you go to her website and check out all of her links. So I've got her Instagram, Facebook, and website all in the description box. Make sure you check that out. Now, Kate, it has been the most amazing pleasure to have you. I would love for you to answer one more question, and then we will let you go. Okay? So professionals. I know you can talk about this forever, and we could listen to you forever. But we've got to start wrapping this up soon so that we can all go and do the things that we need to do. So Professionals Confident is asking, what would you suggest to find gigs during COVID and how to continue rehearsals? Zoom is great for speaking, however, for rehearsals, the transmission time has had a delay. Any practical tips there, Kate?
Yeah, I mean, live streaming is an amazing thing at the moment, and it's still going, and I don't think it will go anywhere once we're, back to a bit more normal of the live gigging. So I would think, developing a monthly or something like that gig where maybe you do a donation or you do something like that so that you're actually getting some income, being able to engage in that. In Australia, there's heaps of live streams still happening where somebody hosts it with a couple of people playing, so it's not just you. So looking for opportunities to do that. And usually those things, again, come from networking, come from actually, I have a relationship with this person, we've got to know each other. So remember, it's not just about you being great over here on your own. It's actually about you being knitted in with other creators. And I love even the community here, everyone saying hi to one another and hi, Kerry, and back and forth. It comes from this kind of thing. So starting from there, and if Zoom is an issue around that, then what you'll need to do is probably with the different band members is set a time, say from 4 to 5 on a Wednesday, and everybody just has to rehearse at home and rehearse hard on their own parts. Maybe you have a click track that everyone's playing to and practicing along. So it's like a really basic demo. So the bass player can practice the timing, that kind of thing, especially if the Zoom transmission and the delays that make it hard. Don't try to hustle through that. Have a meeting, chat, talk about life, build a relationship and develop that connection with the band, and then just rehearse at home in that space. Yes, it's not ideal, but what is ideal this year? I don't know.
Yes, exactly. Thanks, Kate. That's fantastic. So, guys, make sure that you go and check out everything that Kate has to offer, and also to register for the Indie Musician Summit. Kate, it has been the most incredible pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for giving us, being so generous with your time and with your knowledge, and just with your smiley face and your passion. And, I can see that you just love doing what you do. Your heart just really shines through. So thank you so much, Kate. And we look forward to the summit. And being able to learn more from you and from your guest speakers with that as well. So thank you so much, everybody. Give Kate a bit of a round of applause. And thank you so much, Kate. And don't go anywhere, Songbirds. I'm going to tell you about next week. All right. See you later, Kate. Thank you again. See ya. All right, guys. Now, that's been such an incredible session. I'm sure you agree with me. Now, let me tell you about next week. So next week on the live stream is, just give me 1 sec to get my information up. I've kind of lost it. It's okay. Anyway, next week we are talking about how to sing low notes. Every single, video is all about high notes, but what about the very low notes that are very hard to reach and can sometimes get really breathy and hard to, just get volume from? So we're going to talk about that next week, all right? The link is coming up below. You can also click on the description box, set yourself a reminder. It is at 6 p.m. Monday EST, which is 10 a.m. on Tuesday AEDT next week. Once again, don't forget to register for the Indie Musician Summit on the 27th and the 29th of November. And you do want to get onto it now. Yeah, don't wait until the 27th or whatever, because you don't want to then forget about it and then miss out. All right. So the link is coming up below. Make sure you click on it and register for free. It's going to be incredible. Also, don't forget that I have a free mini course that you're also going to love. So make sure that you sign up to get that as well. Links are also in the description box. It has been such an incredible pleasure to be with you this morning, Songbirds, or night, whatever it is in your part of the world. Thank you so much for being here. Can't wait to see you next week. Yeah, I just want to remind you that if you do want to see more stuff that I do, so if you want to check out my online courses or check out information on one-on-one coaching, I'm here. I'm here to help you to transform your voice, build confidence, and shine on life and on stage. And my website is thesongbirdtree.com. Thank you so much, guys. You guys have been amazing. Have the most amazing day. And Kathleen's already registered for the India Summit. Yay! And Nai is saying that it's been a great show. Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Have the most amazing day, and we will see you next week. Bye.